She entered his mansion with one mission: to betray the man she was sent to destroy. But what began as a plan slowly turned into something far more dangerous: love. And just when she thought she could walk away, what he did next left the world frozen. Stay tuned, because you are about to watch a beautiful story and find out what happened next. Hello, family. Welcome to Tales Haven. Kindly subscribe to my YouTube channel for more beautiful stories. Thank you as you do so. Sit back, relax as we dive into the story. The mansion on Crestwood Hills was a place few people ever entered. It stood tall behind tall black iron gates, hidden by rows of thick trees. The lawn was always perfectly cut. The glass windows reflected the sky like a mirror. And the man inside? Logan Pierce. 34 years old. Tech genius. Billionaire. And most importantly, a man who didn't trust anyone. He built his fortune by creating the most secure financial software in the country. His name wasn't in gossip blogs or red carpets. He lived quiet, private, and alone. Only a few people ever saw the inside of his home. His mother visited once a month. His security manager came twice a week. And housemaids? He never allowed them. Until now. And it wasn't even his idea. It was his mother's. "Logan, you need help," she said on a video call one evening. "You're working too much, barely sleeping, and your house looks like a museum. I'm hiring someone." Logan groaned. "I don't want strangers in my space." "She's not a stranger. Her name is Sophia. She comes highly recommended. Just give her a chance." He sighed. 1 month. That's it. The next day, a taxi pulled up to the mansion's gate. Sophia Carter stepped out, holding a small black suitcase and a folded piece of paper. She was 25, quiet and calm. Her brown skin glowed under the sunlight, and her natural curls were tied into a loose bun. Her clothes were simple: a plain gray dress, black flats, and a cardigan. But beneath her calm appearance, she was shaking inside. She opened the folded paper. It was a photo of Logan Pierce. His face, his name, his secrets. Then she pulled a tiny black earpiece from her pocket and placed it in her ear. A cold male voice came through. "You're at the gate?" "Yes," she whispered. "Good. Remember the mission. Earn his trust. Get into his world. Make him believe in you." Sophia closed her eyes and took a deep breath. She didn't want to do this. But she had no choice. They promised her freedom, a new life, a clean record, and all she had to do was take down a man she didn't even know. She rang the bell. A few seconds later, the door opened, and there he was. Logan Pierce, in a plain black t-shirt and gray sweatpants. He looked nothing like she imagined. His short dark hair was messy. His beard was trimmed. His eyes were calm but sharp, like someone who could read thoughts. He raised an eyebrow. "You must be the maid." Sophia nodded quickly. "Yes, sir. I'm Sophia." He didn't smile. He didn't even offer to take her bag. He simply stepped aside. "Come in." She walked in slowly, scanning the hallway. The floors were spotless. The walls were white. A large piano sat in the corner. Everything smelled like cedarwood and silence. Logan walked past her. "Your room is down the hall, second door on the left. You'll work mornings only. No access to my office or bedroom. Don't ask questions. Just clean." Sophia lowered her eyes. "Understood, sir." He turned around and said firmly, "Also, don't call me sir. Just Logan." She nodded again. "Okay, Logan." Then he added, "I don't like people. I don't do small talk. And I don't repeat myself." She gave a small smile. "Lucky for you. I'm quiet." For the first time, he almost smiled. Almost. Then he left. Sophia walked to her room and closed the door. It was small, neat, and had a view of the garden. She sat on the bed and pulled the earpiece from her ear. "Voice, you're in." She nodded. "Yes." "Good. We need everything: his routines, codes, behavior, passwords. Make him need you. We'll take it from there." She ended the call. Then, alone in the room, she whispered to herself. This was supposed to be just a job. But deep down, she already knew it wouldn't be. Sophia sat alone in her small room, staring out at the garden through the window. The wind moved the flowers gently, but her mind wasn't calm. She had just told the people behind this mission that she was inside, that the target had accepted her. But she felt strange. Not proud, not powerful, just heavy. She opened her suitcase, pulled out a notebook, and scribbled. Day 1, he's nothing like they described. Then she shut the book quickly, almost afraid someone would see it. The next morning, the house was quiet. Too quiet. She walked softly down the hallway and peeked into the living room. Logan was already awake, sitting on the long leather couch with his laptop on his knees. He didn't look up when she entered. Sophia cleared her throat gently. Would you like some coffee? Still typing, he replied, I already made mine. Thanks. She nodded and moved on. She dusted the bookshelves, watered the plants, and swept the hardwood floors. Everything was already neat, but she worked with care. In the kitchen, she found a sticky note on the fridge. Please prepare something light for lunch. No onions. No tomatoes. Logan. Sophia smiled slightly. It was the first note he'd left her. She opened the fridge and started making grilled chicken with spinach. She didn't know why, but she wanted it to be perfect. While she cooked, she heard footsteps behind her. She turned and Logan was standing there, holding an empty mug. You cook too? He asked casually. She nodded. Yes. I enjoy it. He leaned against the counter, watching her. Where did you learn? Sophia paused. My mom taught me, before she passed away. It wasn't a complete lie, but it wasn't the full truth either. He lowered his eyes for a second. Sorry to hear that. Silence filled the room. Then Logan asked something unexpected. Do you like it here? Sophia looked at him carefully. It's peaceful. He nodded. That's the one thing I've always protected. My peace. She gave a small smile. You seem like someone who carries a lot. Logan glanced at her again. This time, he truly looked, as if trying to read her thoughts. I do, he said quietly. But I don't share it. With that, he left the kitchen. Sophia stared at the spot he had just stood. He wasn't cold. He wasn't cruel. He was guarded. There was a difference. That night, Sophia sat on the porch stairs outside, looking at the stars. She wore a sweater over her dress. The air was cool, and everything was quiet again. She heard soft footsteps behind her. Then a deep voice. You like the stars? It was Logan. She didn't expect him to speak to her again today. Yes, she replied gently. They remind me that there's more out there. He sat beside her, not too close, but not far either. They remind me how small we all are, he said. She glanced at him. You don't seem small. You built a whole empire. He looked up. And yet, I sit alone every night. Sophia's chest tightened. He wasn't sharing that to impress her. He was just being real. Why? She asked softly. He shrugged. Hard to trust people when you've been used so many times. Those words pierced her heart, because she was doing exactly that. And he didn't know. Yet. Logan stood and said, Thanks for the food, by the way. It was really good. She smiled, even though guilt was rising inside her. You're welcome. He paused before walking inside. You seem different. How? He turned halfway, looking at her. Most people try to impress me. You just exist. She didn't know what to say, so she said nothing. He went back in, and she sat there longer, her eyes filled with tears. Then, slowly, she pulled the earpiece from her pocket, tapped it twice. A voice responded, Report. Sophia took a shaky breath, then whispered, He's not what they said he was. He's human. The voice replied coldly, Doesn't matter. Keep going. Get into his world. The clock is ticking. Sophia ended the call. She sat there for a long time, staring at the stars. But this time, they didn't give her peace. They only reminded her that the mission was moving faster, and so was her heart. The stars were still above her when Sophia finally stood from the porch and walked back into the house. The air inside felt heavier than before. She passed the living room quietly, glanced at the half-empty teacup Logan had left on the table, then climbed the stairs to her room. But her heart wouldn't let her sleep. Not after what Logan had said. "You seem different. Most people try to impress me. You just exist." Those words replayed in her mind over and over. She was supposed to be getting closer, so she could gather information, passwords, patterns, weaknesses. Instead, she was slowly drowning in something she didn't plan for. Feelings. The next morning, Sophia wore a soft blue dress and pulled her hair into a simple bun. She stepped into the kitchen just as Logan was reaching into the cabinet. He looked tired. His dark hair was slightly messy, and his shirt was untucked. But when he turned and saw her, his face softened. "Good morning," he said, voice low. "Morning," she replied gently. "Coffee?" He nodded. "Please." As she poured the coffee, Logan leaned against the counter. "I couldn't sleep," he said. Sophia handed him the cup. "Something on your mind?" He took a sip, then said something she didn't expect. "You." Sophia froze for half a second. Logan continued, not looking at her directly. "I keep asking myself why it's easier to talk to you than to anyone else. You're just the maid. You've been here 3 weeks. And yet..." He looked up. "You feel familiar." Sophia tried to keep calm. "Maybe, because I don't expect anything from you." He nodded slowly. "Maybe." Then he smiled. "Just a little. You ever play chess?" She blinked. "A little." "Join me this evening. I have a chessboard in the library." She nodded, trying to hide the fluttering in her chest. "Okay." That evening, after dinner, they sat across from each other in the library. The room was warm, lined with books, and smelled of leather and wood. The chessboard was set. Logan made the first move. Sophia smiled. "You're serious about this?" "Always," he said with a grin. "I don't lose." "Guess I'm about to make history," she replied. They played, laughed, teased each other. And for the first time, Logan seemed fully at ease. He told her stories about growing up without a father, about learning to build computers at age 10, and how he made his first million by 21. "But I didn't keep many friends," he said, staring at the board. "Everyone I trusted wanted something from me." Sophia looked at him. "What do you think I want?" He paused, met her eyes. "I don't know yet." She felt her throat tighten. Because if he knew the truth, he'd never let her sit in front of him again. Later that night, as she folded towels in the laundry room, her watch buzzed again. She tapped it. The voice spoke. "Progress." Sophia answered softly. "He invited me to play chess tonight. He's opening up." "Good. We'll need access to the office soon. Push closer." Sophia gripped the towel tightly. "He trusts me now. Then it's time to move." She ended the call without replying, because something inside her was breaking. She wasn't just pretending anymore. The next morning, Logan surprised her. He met her by the stairs and handed her a small white box. "For you," he said. "What is it?" she asked, confused. He nodded for her to open it. Inside was a simple silver necklace with a tiny charm shaped like a chess piece, a queen. Sophia's hand trembled slightly as she held it. "I noticed you don't wear much jewelry," Logan said. "But you played like a queen last night. You earned it." Sophia looked at him, speechless. Her voice finally came out, soft and full of confusion. "Why are you being kind to me?" He shrugged. "Because you remind me of who I used to be, quiet, honest, and trying to survive in a loud world." Tears touched her eyes, but she blinked them back. He didn't know. He couldn't know. She smiled through the storm in her heart. "Thank you, Logan. It means more than you know." As he walked away, Sophia stared at the necklace. It was supposed to be another step in the plan, another layer of the trap. But now, it felt like a chain pulling her deeper into something she never expected. Real love. And she was no longer sure if she could finish what she came to do. Sophia held the silver necklace tightly in her hand, her fingers trembling around the tiny chess queen charm. Logan's gift had been unexpected. Simple, beautiful, and dangerous. Because it wasn't just a gift, it was a sign that his walls were coming down. And she was the one meant to break them. But now she didn't want it anymore. She wanted to protect him, not destroy him. That evening, Sophia sat on the edge of her bed, staring at the folded paper on her nightstand. It held Logan's photo, the one the agency gave her before she arrived. The photo felt old now, like it belonged to a different time. She picked up the piece of paper slowly, then tore it in half. And again, until it was nothing but pieces on the floor. Her watch buzzed. She didn't answer right away. She took a deep breath, then finally tapped it. The voice came in cold and direct. "You're late with your report." Sophia replied in a flat tone. "He trusts me now."
Good.
"Then tonight, you enter the office. The documents we need are in the second drawer on the left." A black folder. Sophia didn't speak. "Sophia, confirm." "I hear you," she said softly. But her heart was screaming something else. That night, the house was silent. Logan had gone to bed early. She heard the click of his bedroom door upstairs. Sophia stood in the hallway, staring at the door to the office. It was slightly open. She pushed it gently and stepped inside. It was dark, but she didn't turn on the light. She knew the layout already. She walked to the desk and opened the second drawer. There it was, a plain black folder. She reached for it, but her hand stopped halfway. Her heart was beating fast. She had come this far. But now that she was inches from finishing the mission, it didn't feel like victory. It felt like betrayal. She pulled her hand back, then turned and froze. Logan was standing at the door. He was wearing a hoodie and sweatpants, no shoes, just quiet eyes watching her.
He didn't speak.
And she didn't know what to say. After a long pause, he asked, "Why are you in my office?" Sophia opened her mouth, but no words came out. He stepped forward.
Calm.
Controlled. But the disappointment in his face was like a knife. "You've been careful," he said softly. "Too careful. You avoided my office every day until now." Sophia looked down, ashamed. "I trusted you," he added. Her voice finally broke through the silence. "Logan, I swear, I didn't come to hurt you." "Then why are you here?" She looked up, eyes full of tears. "Because I didn't know how to stop the lie I started." He narrowed his eyes. "Who sent you?" Sophia took a slow breath. "They said you were dangerous, that you had power others wanted. I was supposed to get close to you, earn your trust, and steal the documents they needed to bring your empire down." Logan stared at her, shocked. "So, I was a job." "At first, yes," she cried. "But then I saw you. The real you. Not the man they described. Not the cold billionaire. I saw a man who reads in silence. A man who still waters his father's roses. A man who gives gifts to a maid with no last name." She wiped her tears. "I fell for the person I wasn't supposed to love." Logan didn't speak. He turned away and looked around his office. The room now felt cold. Finally, he said quietly, "Why didn't you finish it tonight?" Sophia whispered, "Because you gave me something no one else ever gave me, honesty." A long pause followed. Then Logan walked to the desk, opened the drawer himself, and pulled out the black folder. He placed it on the desk in front of her. "If I asked you to take this and give it to them, would you?" She shook her head. "If I told you I already knew who was behind this, what would you say?" Her eyes widened. "You knew." He looked her in the eyes. "I suspected. But I didn't want it to be true." Sophia stepped forward. "Then why didn't you stop me?" Logan's voice dropped low, almost like a whisper. "Because somewhere along the way, I stopped seeing you as the enemy." She covered her mouth with her hand. A tear fell down her cheek. Then he said gently, "I don't know if I can forgive you yet. But I do know this." He walked closer. "You had every chance to finish me tonight. But you didn't." And then he reached for her hand. Sophia didn't move. He held it.
Warm.
Strong. Forgiving. And slowly, his fingers curled around hers. "I don't want perfect," he said. "I want real." Sophia stared at him, speechless. And in that quiet room, surrounded by secrets, lies, and broken trust, two people stood holding hands. Not as trap and target, but as two hearts that had been tested and had chosen not to give up. Logan's hand was still wrapped around Sophia's, steady and warm, but his eyes held something deeper: pain, trust, confusion, and hope, all fighting to stay in place. Sophia couldn't speak. She just stood there, tears gently falling down her cheeks as she looked at the man she was supposed to bring down, now standing in front of her with forgiveness in his touch. He finally let go of her hand and stepped back. "I'll need time," he said quietly. "But I wanted you to hear it from me. I don't hate you." Sophia covered her mouth, trying to hold back a sob. "Logan, I swear I'll never lie to you again." He nodded. "Then prove it." The next morning, Sophia didn't wear her usual cleaning uniform. Instead, she wore jeans and a soft white blouse. She walked into the kitchen and saw Logan sitting at the table with his coffee and tablet. She cleared her throat. "I'd like to resign," she said softly. Logan looked up. "Why?" "Because I don't want to be your maid anymore," she said, meeting his eyes. "I want to be your friend, if you'll let me." A small smile formed on his face. "Then sit down." She joined him, and for the first time, it felt like two equals at the table. Over the next few weeks, the mansion changed. The silence was still there, but it was no longer lonely. They cooked together, watched movies, played chess on rainy evenings. They talked about their pasts, this time, truthfully. Sophia told him about how she was recruited by the private organization when she was 19, promised a clean life if she helped deal with powerful threats. She told him how many things she had done just to survive. And Logan? He listened without judgment. He shared stories of his own heartbreaks, fake friends, betrayals, and how he stopped believing in love long ago. But now, she was changing that. One evening, after dinner, they stood outside on the balcony. The garden below was glowing with soft lights. Logan turned to her. "You could have taken everything from me." Sophia nodded. "I know. But you didn't." She looked into his eyes. "Because I fell in love with you." He smiled, just a little. "Even after all I said in the beginning? You said you didn't like people." He laughed gently. "I still don't. But I like you." She laughed too, and that laughter turned into silence, the good kind of silence. Then he stepped closer and held her face softly in his hands. "Are you ready to stop running?" he asked. She nodded. And he kissed her.
Slow. Sure. Real.
3 months later, the small chapel was filled with white flowers and soft music. Logan stood at the altar in a dark gray suit, looking more peaceful than he had in years. The guests were few, just close friends, his mother, and a couple of trusted staff. The doors opened, and Sophia walked in, dressed in a flowing, simple white gown. Her hair was down in soft curls, her smile warm and steady. She walked toward him slowly, every step washing away the past. When she reached him, he whispered, "You're glowing." She grinned. "Must be peace. I never thought I'd have it." The pastor smiled and opened his Bible. "Dearly beloved," their hands joined. Their eyes never left each other. And when the vows were said and the rings exchanged and the kiss finally happened, no one in the room had a dry eye. Later that night, in the quiet of the garden, Logan and Sophia sat side by side. The stars were above them, just like the first night. He held her hand gently and said, "Remember when I told you I don't repeat myself?" She laughed. "I remember." He looked into her eyes. "Well, I love you, and I'll keep repeating that for the rest of our lives." Sophia smiled, rested her head on his shoulder, and whispered, "I finally found where I belong." And just like that, the woman sent to destroy a billionaire became the woman who taught him how to love again. The stars above the garden twinkled gently as Sophia rested her head on Logan's shoulder. They sat quietly, soaking in the calm, the peace, the moment. She had once entered his life with a secret. Now, she had become his wife. Not because of a plan, not because of a mission, but because they had both chosen to heal together. Logan kissed the top of her head and whispered, "Let's start forever right here." Sophia smiled with her eyes closed. Forever sounds beautiful. 6 months later, inside the Pierce Foundation Hall, the air was filled with soft music, light chatter, and fresh flowers lining the white and gold stage. Logan stood at the podium in front of a crowd of reporters, donors, and volunteers. He wore a black suit and no tie, just the way Sophia liked it. Behind him was a banner that read, "Healing begins with truth, Pierce Foundation for women like Sophia." He cleared his throat and began. "Thank you all for coming. Today is special, not just because we're opening a new foundation, but because this is the first time I'm telling the world the truth behind the most important chapter of my life." He paused, and his eyes found Sophia sitting in the front row, her hand gently resting on her stomach, 6 months pregnant. She smiled at him with tears in her eyes. Logan continued, "Most of you know me as a man who builds software, who avoids the spotlight, who stays private. But you don't know that I was once the target of a trap. That someone entered my life pretending to care because she was sent to bring me down."
People gasped.
But Logan smiled. Except she didn't finish the job. He looked at Sophia. Because she found something better than revenge. She found love. And so did I. The room fell silent. Logan's voice softened. "She didn't just change my life. She saved it." Sophia wiped her tears quietly. Logan stepped down and walked toward her, then helped her to her feet. The crowd clapped as they stood together, hand in hand. Later that evening, back at home, Sophia walked slowly through the garden with Logan by her side. The moonlight bounced off her skin, and her baby bump showed gently through her dress. "You sure you're not tired?" Logan asked, wrapping an arm around her. "I'm fine. The baby's been quiet tonight. Maybe she likes the stars too," she teased. He chuckled. "She already has good taste then." They sat down on the same porch steps where they had once shared silence, confusion, and slow beginnings. Now, everything felt whole. Logan reached into his pocket and pulled out something small. A tiny silver chess piece. "The queen." "The necklace," she smiled. He nodded. "It was the first thing I ever gave you. And now." He reached behind her and gently placed it around her neck again. "It's the first thing our daughter will see you wear." Sophia looked at him, her eyes filled with warmth. "I love you, Logan. For all that you are. For who you were. And for the man who stood by me even when he had every reason to walk away." He kissed her forehead and whispered, "I'll keep choosing you, every day." They looked up at the stars. No more lies. No more fear. No more pretending. Just love.
Real. Raw.
Unbreakable. The kind of love that grows through the worst. And shines brighter in the end. That brings us to the end of this video. If you find this video worth watching, kindly subscribe to my channel, like, and share this video to your friends and loved ones. You can also comment what you feel about the story. Your support and engagement encourage me to post more videos. Thanks for watching.